Good morning and welcome to the Air Force District of Washington A1 External Training Program. Today we are featuring SF182s, continuous service agreements, and training allocation procedures, better known as RIPS. Our presenter today is Mr. Kenneth Carr from 316 FSS. At this time, please mute all mics during the duration of today's training. Should you have any questions, please either annotate it in the chat or raise your virtual hand. Also, upon conclusion of today's training, please take some time to complete the training evaluations via the link. I will also resend it via the chat at the conclusion of today's briefing as well. This training is being recorded and a link will be sent out with the recording. At this time, I would turn it over to Mr. Carr. Sir, the floor is yours. Mr. Carr, I think that your mic is muted. Mr. Carr, could you please unmute your mic? Is anyone online from 316 FSS that could remind Mr. Carr his mic is muted?
Yes, ma'am. This is Kimberly Clemens. I'll run over next door. I'll be right back to you.
Thank you. Mr. Carr should be getting with you shortly. Sorry about that.
Yes, ma'am. This is Kimberly Clemens coming back online. Mr. Carr is trying to understand the speaker issue and the mic issue because during the practice run, it was working fine. Is there a possibility that he's muted on your end?
No, I can't mute him on my end.
He has to go into Teams in the meeting and look at his mic at the top and just click it. And that will unmute him.
He did that. I'm saying there's some technical difficulty at this point.
Yes, we can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Can you see? Can everybody see my presentation now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Today's presentation will go over some objectives with the 3 subject matters that we have already set up for you. We'll go through the designs, the responsibilities, and the standard forms for the 182 sections and the continuous service agreement and training allocation RIPS.
Mr. Carr, you're muted again. If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, sorry about that. We'll go over, I'll repeat what I just said. We'll go over the purpose to identify the basic guidance of the standard form 182. Also the continuous service agreement processes, and to clarify the purpose and to state the various responsibilities of these documents, and also to understand what the EDMS's duties and the guide and the preparation that's involved in this and the guidance that's necessary. We'll do this on a regular basis. Standard Form 182 design. The Standard Form 182's authorizations and agreement certification of training is used to authorize training in an appropriate fund and non-appropriate fund for civilians, including direct and indirect costs. It is a must that we also be used for all form of training of 8 hours or more, and all the other things training regardless of length if costs are involved. The SF182 is to be prepared in all training of 8 hours or more of costing any money. It is also required to document expenditures and use of the GPC card. Records, training, and activities facilitate data and reporting. Also, too, it authorizes training for active duty sometimes in civilian. Supervisors must submit training, and managers and liaisons once they sign in Section D. But the SF182 evaluates the necessity and the appropriateness of training activity. It also anticipates the GPC card holders contacting the vendor once they have the approved SF182. And you also want to send the form electronically by email regarding the fact that the source of the control unclassified information. Some of the supervisory's responsibilities: supervisors must evaluate each instance of training that exceeds 80 duty hours or $5,000 or more. Supervisors will also ensure the GPC card holder has an approved SF182 prior to contacting the vendor. Approval and authorization by training by your unit is required before enrolling or making any commitments to the course. Your unit training representative or your unit training monitor will also ensure compliance with all statutory, legal, and administrative requirements. Also, this person will ensure sections A through D are completed. Also, approval and authorization remains at that unit's level. The SF182's approvals prior to enrollment will be ensured in the course. Supervisors must understand their roles relative to training on the administration with the Air Force instruction that is listed here, 36-2687. Trainees must understand their roles also too under that same instruction. Our responsibilities at EDS will review the standard form 182 authorization agreement and certification for training to ensure the compliance with all statutory legal requirements, regardless of the source of response. Sometimes the officer training and EP and PMESs are approved at this level. Former training managers at EDS will process the forms in the functional training requirements. Mission readiness training and SF182s are also processed through certain units. Here's a flow chart. Most of the time, we're going to go ahead and use this. It's initiated by the supervisor of training. It's entered in the GPC card holders information. Sometime we, might have to use the first level supervisor, but we're gonna try to always use a second level supervisor as approval. The training managers are gonna go ahead and approve this document. The unit is gonna go ahead and go through the approval process. And the trainee registration is gonna be complete, and the GPC card holder purchase, goes through. And the post-training evaluation will be evaluated. These are some of the important sections on the SF182, especially section F. We're gonna make sure that the person's name has been filled out, also security number, also two, the position and title of the career, the educational level, the GS plan, the grade, etc., and the member's phone number. In section B, this is pretty much a very important section to deal with the vendor most of the time. We want to make sure that we have the vendor's phone number, the vendor's email address, website, in case we have to get in contact with him or her. Also, two, trade-in accreditation indicator, is either going to be yes or no. Is their continuous service agreement filed? Yes or no? Also, two, the continuous service agreements date is right here, and the agency's use, whether it's a priority 1 or 2 or 1B, etc. Also, tuitions and fees are going to be right here. Books and material also counted, total right here. We see right here, it's unit funded. Also, two, in the indirect costs and appropriation fund chargeable. We're going to go ahead and put the travel right here, per diem and total, in the appropriation fund. Also, the cardholder's name, phone, organization, and address, etc. The section sheet will most likely sign right here. Phone number, second line supervisor will be right here. Signatures electronically will go right here. Email. Training manager will sign this document. It would be most likely EBMS or former training tech that will sign this part of the form section. And most the person's supervisor or reporting official will sign right here in these spaces right here. His or her supervisor will sign right here. Do we have a question?
Mr. Trish, you have your hands up.
Yes, all of section D should be the unit's responsibility. And section E should be the FSS or should be signed off that, not the supervisor. The
Okay.
supervisor assigns section F, but not section E. Is that the way you guys been doing it, or how have you been doing it?
The supervisor will be signed section F.
No, to my section D. Who do you have signing section D?
What's that?
Who do you have
We do
signing
section-
section
We
D? I thought
do the EDS does section D.
okay, who signs section E? Or does it,
Our office, man.
so you sign section D and E?
No, I do not, but we have people in our office that sign section D.
You said someone in your office signs section D? Okay, well, Let me give you an example. If I'm LRS and I have a training person, would I sign section B or would you guys sign?
It'd be one of us, or the UTM.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
In section A.
Mr. Carr, we have someone else that has a question. Mr.
Okay.
Smart, go ahead and unmute and ask.
So the section D, E, and F, what I've gotten in the past is if it's something that's used, an SF182 that's using the government travel card, then the unit training manager is going to sign the unit training management block, and then a supervisor can sign the approving official block under that. If it's something that's going to use a government purchase card, then the FSS signs the unit training section, and the GPC card holder who does and pays for the action will sign as the approving official because they're the one moving funds. And then the final section, of course, is signed, just can be from the supervisor confirming the person did attend that training on the days specified as their place of duty, or the individuals that presented the class, in some cases, will sign the last section on the back of the form. So that's the general rule that I've gotten out of FSS. That's all I had.
Are there any other questions at this time? Okay, we'll go ahead and continue the presentation. So we'll have a flow chart here, and this is the way usually your flow chart will start with the SFS 182 approval process. We'll receive it, review, continue service agreements will come about. We'll collect all documents, approve, and we'll file, and we'll update the CSA tracker and return approved SF182. Also, too, here's a detail on continuous service agreement. One of the most important pages in this document starts on 1 through 6. Also on page 2 and 3 are very important pages. I would suggest, if you don't know that much about continuous service agreements, this document is very important. It'll bring you up to speed on what actually is the proper criteria of filling out this form. Also, too, there's a block right here. The period of obligated service starts the first duty day after the completion of the training day. The EBS will notify trainees when a continuous service agreement is required and ensure the CSA is signed before the trainee attends the course. Continuous service agreements are maintained by the organization funding and training departments. The unit employee and development specialist will sign the EBS or the program manager. Okay, that's why. The CSA agreement, what we talked about earlier, this is detail of what that agreement has on it. And these are terms that him or her that filled out this document will go by, especially in these 4 parts. It's on the document that we showed earlier. If a voluntary leave by the agency before completing the period of service agreed upon in item 1, I agree to reimburse the agency for fees such as tuition and related fees and travel. If I further agree that I voluntarily leave or the agency to enter a service of another federal agency or other organization, any branch of government, of completing the period, what will happen? And right here, I understand that any amount of money which may be due to the agency because of any failure of my part to meet the terms of this agreement may be withheld from any monies owed. Then we have some continuous service agreement material right here. I advise when you get the chance, please go through these slides and go over the material. These are very important documents, especially those that are continuing employment with the federal government that the member may not know about. And the continuous service agreement is a written agreement requiring employees to remain in service to the federal government upon completion of training. What
I have a
CSA?
question.
Yes.
Okay, so the CSA, just to make sure everybody understands, the CSA does not apply to active duty, only to civilians. And also, oh, forgot my thought. So it only applies, and also if you transfer to another agency, because the question is what would happen? We have to transfer the CSA to your other agency, State Department, et cetera. So that commitment will follow you until it's completed. No other questions, comments?
Any other questions at this time? Okay, what CSA ensures, just like Ms. Robinson said, it ensures that the federal money gets a return on its investments. Levying on the basis of force length is based 3-to-1 ratio. Cost calculation includes books, materials, travel, etc. And local CSA trackers help with monitoring agreement expirations and periods. Certain CSA waivers may apply. Employee must provide advance notice at least 10 work days. Also, acquisition and training office has the authority to waive CSA obligations. 3/16 Wing federal service employees who apply for training that requires CSA will follow the general guidance in the material in the CSAs and policies and procedures. We will also use the official agreement document in CSA PSDG Volume 1. Our personnel will also sign page 3 of the CSA as the EDS program manager. So we'll switch from training the CSA.
I'm sorry, I got another comment to make on the CSAs.
Mhm.
So just remember, when you sign that CSA, it will be going with you. And if you are going out if you just retiring or you getting out, I mean, as far as the civilian, the pay will be, they'll determine the amount of pay depending on how much time you left on your CSA. So if you only have like 3 months, and like you said, they may waive it, but they may not. So just be prepared if you decide to get out or go contract, you still are committed to that CSA.
Are there any other questions? We just went through briefly CSAs, but we're going to switch the topic to training allocation risk. And we do understand that certain units process their training and allocation risk differently. One way that we do it here is that once the training is identified by the members entered into a classified are tricky, and immediately a TLN and a RIP is generated. The RIP is sent to a MILF PDS, to the PSM, and then the formal training. Upon the receipt of training, we will format the RIP. And once the RIP is returned to the formal training, it is then processed. After the RIP is processed, we inform the UTM if it's on completion and expect the LOA email from TUI school. we'll show you some examples of on the process that we go through here at 316 FSS. We highlight the personnel locations. Also, too, we redact the socials. This person has a training rep. He or she will sign here, provide the supervisor's email, and provide military email. The TLN number is right here. The course title is also right here. This is one of the training reps that we go through pretty much on a daily basis. Also, part 2 gives detail. We'll also make sure that we redact all social security numbers, make sure the title is there. Also, we'll look at the date right here, date of birth. Also below, whether the person will accept the training, obtain the required retainability, or he or she decline or elect the 7-day option. This will go into detail. Also, the leave format is down here, whether he or she will request leave and member's signature and date. The member's leave, whether it's been approved or disapproved by the supervisor, and personnel relocations, whether the member's leave was approved or disapproved by the commander, etc. This is a cancellation rip. We'll make sure that we highlight the words cancellation and so the members understand, get an idea of what's going on. Highlight the member's name, redact the social. Also highlight PLN number. And we want this document back as soon as possible. The training quota is a cancellation and the member's name down here. So our objectives in this lesson was the SF182 purpose, to state the various training responsibilities, to clarify what the EDMS's duties and SF182 preparations. Also to inform the records are updating when we do it on a regular basis. Also how we went over how to identify the SF182 design and embrace the various duties associated with the SF182 and prepare the SF182s and CSA accordingly and update records at the training event. And we have some questions. And the resources that we use to help with the production of the slides are listed right here. You'll be able to receive the copy later on after this session is developed. Are there any other questions at this time?
I have a couple of comments on the 182. Just make sure before you commit to a vendor that you already have a approved 182 on file that's already been approved by the FSSs or AFDW to apply to us. So we get quite a few where they already committed and they expect us to sign it right away, which is against AFI 64-117. So just make sure you remind your people, do not commit to a vendor until that's been approved. And another thing on the SF182, I think it's section D for the supervisor. We in AFEW don't normally say that if my primary supervisor is a lieutenant colonel or colonel and his supervisor is a general, we normally put same as 1A instead of trying to elevate up higher. Yeah, on section D. Yeah, we put section 2A same as 1A.
Okay. Are there any other questions about the slide presentation at this moment? Anything you want to add, Ms. Robinson or Ms. Pierre? at this time?
I think I've probably been doing a lot more talking, so, I don't think so. Only other thing that comment I had is the civilian reps.
Mhm.
Is your process the same for civilian reps as it is for the active duty? Because a lot of civilians is complaining that they're not getting the reps, and I'm not sure if it's the procedure, because the way we just send them directly to the civilian themselves
Mhm.
and make sure it's done, but if we send them to, first of all, we don't know who everybody's supervisor is, so we can't do that way. We don't want to send it to the UTM because we don't know who they are, so we send it directly to the individual themselves and have them follow the same procedures.
What we do, we also send it to the member and also the UTM pretty much at the same time. The only problem that we encounter is when their civilian says something, well, I'm supposed to be attending school in 6 days or 7 days. I need my rep yesterday. And a lot of times we've already sent it out to him or her or the UTM. That's the problem that we encounter about training, or they may switch somebody in training and the rep may have a different name on it, and then we have to find they have to find somebody to attend that class. Those are the problems that we have sometimes, but we make sure that the member gets a copy as soon as we get that rep, along with the UTM.
Okay, because I was thinking it might have somebody, UTM must not know where to send it, so that's why it was the whole up. Okay, thank you.
Now, we try to eliminate that right then and there. That way that member won't say that I didn't get a copy. And also too, when they say they didn't get a copy, we go back to our sent mail to see actually the date that we did send it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions right now? And as we said before, you'll be able to receive a copy of this later on, as once this presentation is available, if you so desire.
If there are no further questions, thank you, Mr. Carr, for presenting, and thank you all for attending today's training.
And
Please take the
also,
time to complete the survey. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I also would like to thank Mr. McCray for providing most of the slides, and also Mr. Lane Myers and Tiffany Broadwater for helping produce the slides. Thank you so much for your help and your patience. That's all I have today.
Okay, yeah, we definitely want to thank Mr. McCray and his crew for presenting the slide. Excellent slides, excellent presentation. So please take this time to complete the survey by going to the link in the chat. And stated earlier, recording of today's training will be sent out with the link. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of the day.